You mentioned LeBron. Magic Johnson was on ESPN yesterday, and he blamed LeBron for the Lakers not getting DeMar DeRozan. That they wanted to get DeMar DeRozan, who was available, and Magic said he pushed for it, but LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. Does that sound right?
I think at the end of the day, your best player, your star player, and obviously in the Lakers' case, that would be LeBron. They had to have gone to LeBron and asked him, here's a list of guys that we're thinking about. I do know on that list was DeMar. I know on that list was Buddy Hield. I know on that list was Kyle Lowry. So they had options and choices. And look, if LeBron feels comfortable playing with Russell and that's his choice, I have no problem with that. I'm not going to blame him because.
But do you think it's LeBron's decision that if Rob Pelinka goes.
Not decision, but heavy input. Yes. Heavy input, I would say. And that's been LeBron every place he's been. Started in Cleveland, going to Miami, going back to Cleveland, and now LA. Absolutely, you would go to LeBron and ask him his input on certain players. I mean, how did they get Anthony Davis? You don't think LeBron had a heavy dose of say in that?
And same agent, too.
Right.
But, the star players, like Magic, didn't make good decisions in the front office. Michael didn't make good decisions in the front office. Remember Michael wanted to bring Walter Davis into the Bulls when he was on one leg. Al Wood, and then Jerry Krause said no.
Well, didn't Michael draft? I love Kwame Brown, but
and Adam Morrison.
So look, great players sometimes are always their worst critics because they think they know more than they actually do. But I am not going to criticize LeBron if he wanted to play with Russell Westbrook as opposed to DeMar DeRozan, because DeMar DeRozan, the season that he's having right now in Chicago, did we see any of that in San Antonio? We saw glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But we didn't see that full package that we're seeing in Chicago right now for him.
Yeah, but Russ is either really good or really bad. DeMar DeRozan is steady. Like, if it was an EKG, you'd be like, oh, my God, that patient's going to die. No, he's going to live to be 100. DeMar DeRozan's like, he's like Joe Dumars. It's just like calm, no highlights, just goes out there and plays. Get you some buckets, mid-range jumpers.
Again, I can't fault LeBron for wanting to play with Russell. And, here's the problem. They're throwing Frank Vogel underneath the bus, which to me is not fair. Who should be skating on thin ice should be Rob Pelinka. Seriously. He's the general manager. He's the president, whatever title he has with the Lakers. I don't know why we always want to go to LeBron. It's LeBron's fault. It's Frank Vogel's fault. You got to start looking at upper management. You got to start looking at the Buss family, Jeannie Buss too, right? They're the ones that put this roster together.
Yeah.
LeBron is out there. Is he recruiting? Absolutely. Is he asking some of his friends to play like Carmelo? Absolutely. But they could, at the end of the day, say no. They could have went out and got Buddy Hield. They could have vetoed that and say, we're going to go with DeMar DeRozan. So don't always throw LeBron underneath the bus. Let's start looking at some of the principles here in Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka as well.
But they could have had DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield. They could have done that.
And here's the thing. You look at LeBron's skill set and what he needs. Guys that can shoot the three, that can make open shots like DeMar, probably the best mid-range player in our game. That fits his skill set. So someone in upper management needs to say, okay, I know he wants to play with Russell Westbrook, but his skill set doesn't fit the way we and LeBron plays. So there's got to be a grown-up in the room now, right? So let's not always throw it on LeBron James' shoulders.
And you get to see the Lakers on Thursday night on TNT against,
which could be an elimination game for them, right? This could be an elimination from the playoff game for them.
We want them in the play. Although Anthony Davis says the world is against us, there's more Laker fans than any other fan base, right?
Agree.
Right? And every TV executive who carries the NBA wants the Lakers in.
We do. We have the West this year. Let's make no mistake. Having the Lakers in the playoffs and a deep playoff run, that's huge for the business of the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Not even having them in the playoffs at all is terrible for the business. But I would love to have them in the play-in situation because those games are, and I give Adam Silver a lot of credit, it adds a lot of juice now to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Lakers, hopefully if they got into that 10th spot, having to win in New Orleans, and then, eventually having to play the winner or the loser of that, I believe it's Minnesota Clippers, that adds juice. So, yes, not having them in the playoffs would hurt.
Reggie Miller, Hall of Famer, Turner Sports NBA and NCAA tournament analyst. I mentioned this last week. It feels like the tournament is either you're 18 years of age or you're 23 or 24, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. The transfer portal, I think, to me, it injected something into college basketball because of the whole COVID situation. It gave those guys and players, an extra year, fifth-year seniors. We were calling that Kansas versus Miami Elite Eight game in Chicago. And between Mitch Lightfoot, Cameron McGusty, Remy Martin, all these guys are fifth and sixth year. I believe McGusty was 24 years old. I'm like, 24? They're playing against 18 and 19-year-olds. I'm like, that's a clear-cut advantage. So,
yeah.
I get it. I like it. So it adds a little juice to it.
But we're going to get back to these kids coming out of high school going right to the NBA, right?
I think so, yeah. Or going straight to the G League or D League, whatever it is now, to make some money. Yeah, I think eventually the world will correct itself. And if someone wants to play college for a year, which to me I wish they would, or they need to change this model around because of the NILs now and players being able to make money.
Yep.
Players may start to say, you know what, I can go to college for a couple of years, still work on my brand while making money. And the colleges win as well because you're getting top 20, top 50 type players still playing in the college game.
Did Kansas win it or North Carolina lose it?
I'm never going to take away anything from the champions. But if you're up 16 in the second half of a college game where you can control 35-second shot clock and you just got to make plays and squeeze the life out of that orange, that's a tough pill to swallow, being up 16 and losing a championship. But I'm going to give all the credit to Kansas because when we were calling Kansas and Chicago, I told Harlan and Dan Bonner this, they did not look good at all. They played that one great second half versus Miami and blew them out in the second half. But the other three quarters were just okay. They played hard. They had great talent, but I just didn't see it. So when they won that Miami game and was headed to New Orleans, I'm like, if that kid from Villanova is never hurt, could this have been a different outcome for them? Because what we saw from Villanova when we had them in Pittsburgh, I'm like, this is the team to beat. Their defense, their ball movement, the way they shoot the basketball, the 23 and 24-year-olds they have, like Gillespie and Samuels and more. I'm like, Villanova's the team to beat. But when that kid got hurt, I'm like, Kansas caught a break right there.
MVP this year is going to be, and MVP this year should be. Are those different answers?
The MVP this year will be Jokic. The MVP should be Giannis Antetokounmpo. How he has closed the season, and I know consistently it's been Jokic and what he's had to deal with two key injuries to two major players in Jamal Murray and Porter Jr. It will be Jokic. It should be Giannis, him getting his third MVP, because how he's been the last month and a half, 2 months has been spectacular. I think he's, which is scary, gone to a different level. but it should be Giannis.
How long did it take you to shoot your Wendy's commercials?
Oh man, those were 2-day shoots, and I hope people enjoyed them. It was great because the director said, "Look, we've seen the first 2 years were great, but we're gonna let you and the actors just ad lib. We have a script that we can somewhat follow, but here's the script, but do whatever you guys want." And we did whatever we want. So what you see a lot are a lot of first takes, us just being us and working off one another, which made it fun.
Yeah, but how tough was it that you had to miss a shot on purpose?
It was very difficult because that's not my DNA, Theodore. You know that's not my Theodore. That's not my DNA. I had to look at and like brick. I'm like, are you sure you want this? Like, oh, we're never going to use it. I look at the commercial. They used it. People, I don't miss that bad.
No, you don't.
I do not miss that bad.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Hey, great to have you back. And good luck on Thursday.
Aren't the NBA playoffs going to be great? Look, we didn't even talk about Brooklyn. Like, Simmons, now he's not going to even play in the play. What is Brooklyn and the Lakers both in play-in situations?
Oh, I know.
The start of the season, they were picked to face one another in the NBA Finals. Now they're scratching and clawing just to make the regular playoffs. This year is going to be great, the playoffs.
Yeah, the Ben Simmons thing. How did the Nets not know that he had an injury?
I'm going to give Daryl Morey and Philly a lot.
They must have
hot that fishing reel.
Yeah.
They got it.
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, he needed the last 10 games of the regular season to get ready, and now I wonder, Kyrie's going to be able to play unless they go to Toronto, and
right.
Like this, Harden feels like a detriment to Philadelphia. Like this trade didn't turn out to be what I think we thought it was going to be.
I think at the end of the day, it will be Miami, Milwaukee in the East Finals. And I think at the end of the day, it will be Phoenix and Memphis in the West Finals.
Wow.
Though, I mean, if Steph can come back and play like he played the first month and a half, and Draymond Green kind of picks up his game a little bit, because Clay is starting to come on now a little bit. So if they can find that chemistry, which I don't know if they can this late, Memphis is playing out of their minds. And I wouldn't mind seeing a Dylan Brooks, John Morant guards versus Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I kind of want to see that.
It'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Have fun Thursday night. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Theodore, love you. Glad to be back. Playoffs, baby. My Danettes, love y'all.
Reggie Aloysius Miller, Jr. the third.